3 years after their loved ones were killed in the Oxford High School shooting in Michigan, the parents of those victims are demanding action. They took time to speak today, demanding a new investigation into the actions of schools officials prior to that shooting. A third-party report released in 2023 claimed that the shooting could have been prevented. State officials have yet to do a similar investigation of their own. The parents of those killed in the shooting on November 30th, 2021, believe an investigation like that could help keep kids safe in the future.
This is about getting the truth out there to create the countermeasures to save our kids. This is not about identifying people to prosecute. That's what the Attorney General continues to get wrong on this. While that is a part of the story, the bigger piece and what we're talking about today is to drive the change, to change the future.
3 people are currently serving prison time for their connection to that shooting. The shooter, 15-year-old Ethan Crumley, pleaded guilty to murder charges and will spend the rest of his life behind bars. His parents were convicted separately of involuntary manslaughter. They were sentenced in April to 10 to 15 years in prison.